A very good morning to all the viewers and listeners of Hello Kolkata, a Kolkata Calling podcast series. Like every Sunday, we are back again with a very fresh episode of Hello Kolkata podcast. This Sunday is special because it's Mahalaya, and today we have a very special guest to introduce. Today on Hello Kolkata, we are joined by a leader who has spent over 3 decades shaping people, culture, and organizations across industries. We are joined by Mr. Sujoy Banerjee, who is the Group Chief People Officer and Group Head Marketing, Corporate Communications, and PR at Gainwell Group. From his early days in HR leadership at Tata Motors, Eveready, Organon, McNally Bharat, and today with Gainwell, he has been instrumental in steering transformation in different industries across engineering, infrastructure, manufacturing. He has also consistently championed the human side of business, as evident from multiple talks and podcasts that you can find. He's also a recipient of multiple honors, including CHR of the Year, HR Thought Leader, and widely respected in the industry for driving the upskilling revolution, holistic employee well being, and building organizations where people can thrive. Beyond all of this, Sujoy sir brings with him a deep Kolkata connect, which we'll explore, a passion for empowering teams, and a belief that the future of work lies in balancing performance with purpose. So, with that little bit of introduction, let me invite Sujoy sir onto the main stage. Sujoy sir, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Shobit.
Uh, Sujoy sir, it is a great honor and privilege to have a leader like you on our Hello Kolkata podcast. We'll get into all the wonderful journey, accomplishment, your experience. But before we go there, you are a true blue Kolkata boy. And since we are called Kolkata Calling, if you can tell our viewers and listeners a little bit about your early days, your growing up days, the institutions, the early influences, that would be wonderful.
Thank you, Shobit, for inviting me for this conversation. Yes, I'm a true Kolkatan that way. Uh, I did my entire schooling from a school called Don Bosco Park Circus. You also belong to that school, so we have the same alma mater. Uh, then I had the privilege. I passed out from Don Bosco in the year 1984, which was my class 12th. So I'm pretty prehistoric in terms of my schooling days. I call myself a dinosaur who has some intelligence. So then I had the privilege of joining Jadavpur University. People might say, why Jadavpur? In Don Bosco, I was an avid cricketer. I was playing for my school. Our school team won the Bengal Championship in 1982-83. We were the Bengal champions. So cricket was something which drove me, and I'm still passionate about the game. So I thought Jadavpur was one university which gave me an opportunity to play
Mhm.
continuously, pursue my love for the game of cricket. So I got into Jadavpur, did my political science for 3 years. I graduated in 1987. In those 3 years, I played active cricket in Jadavpur. I was a university blue. I went on to play first division league cricket in Calcutta, played for Kalighat. Because I loved cricket and loved Kolkata. And I don't know why I could not get myself out of Kolkata. But yes, then after spending 3 years in Jadavpur, where I did a lot of theater also, so I did studies on the side actually, because I had the privilege of having very cooperative classmates who shared their notes. So I remember before my part two exams in Jadavpur, the photocopy machine and my classmates were my best friends. So I qualified through Jadavpur. Uh, and then my parents told me that it's time that you did something more serious in life.
Mhm.
Cricket and theater won't take you beyond a certain point. And then I said that where to go. So then I had a cousin of mine who was also pursuing a profession in HR. He was a pass out of XISS Ranchi. And he said, yes, you can try your luck there. So I
Mm.
went and gave the exams. I did qualify. So between 1988 to 1990, I was in Ranchi. I passed from XISS Ranchi. Those were 2 years where I did some studies because I realized that at the end of the second year, I had to get a job for myself because I had to successfully go through a campus interview process. So those 2 years I spent in Ranchi. Phenomenal experience being out of Kolkata for the first time, staying in a hostel, getting used to a very multicultural exposure of people coming in from across the country, uh, having some great times with my friends, learning from them. And then I landed up in my first job with Tata Motors in Jamshedpur. So that was my early life before I jumped into my professional career. So it was Don Bosco Park Circus, best time of my life. Made the best of friends because I always believe that you make the best of friends in school and not in
Absolutely.
management schools or in colleges because especially in management schools and professional institutions where everybody's fighting for the same pie.
Yeah.
Uh, I had a superb time in Don Bosco theater, uh, sports. There, the fathers used to push us to do studies also, so we had no option but to
Yeah.
go through the rigor and the grind. So that was the early part of my career till about 1990, till which time I was actually studying and trying to make a life for myself.
Sir, I'll come in here with one question. So, obviously, even completely, resonates with me. Obviously, much later in the years when I joined Don Bosco, but definitely the 13 years, best 13 years of my life, and what you said about making friends, the earliest friends who you sort of befriend, even not knowing what friendship is, no agenda, no motive, you just become friends because you're probably sitting next to each other in the class, and those friends or those friendships persevere across decades. But sir, my question here is, you were very passionate about cricket, you said, theater, you said. uh, from there, somebody who's so extracurricularly motivated, for him to be pushed into a more mainstream traditional corporate career, was that something that you resented, resisted, or you were wise enough to know that my parents are saying the right thing, I should follow their advice?
I did not resist, to be honest, because I knew that there's also responsibility which I need to shoulder.
Hmm.
Yes, though I and there were people who were compatriots who went on to play quite a national level of cricket. A couple of them played for the state for East Zone in cricket. One of them played for went on. Couple of them went on to play for India.
Wow.
So but I knew that beyond a certain level, reality, I knew the reality. We had no IPL or big money cricket in those days. So I had seen, my father was a sportsman also. So I could see his compatriots and his fellow sportsmen who were there. But I had an ambition to have a quality of life which was beyond what was happening around me. And I knew that I have to be more realistic than live in a world of dreams.
Hmm.
So I realized after class, after my university, that yes, university, blue, doing street theater, doing drama, these things are great, but I was not looking that as a profession for myself. I knew that I had to do something which was more professionally paying. So maybe I was a bit more rational than being a bit more utopian in terms of just following my passion. So
Hmm.
therefore, I consciously went into a life which was more corporate, which was more structured, more defined.
Yeah. And sir, I'll squeeze in one more question here before I come to the career part of your journey. uh, Often we get asked this question, and often in interviews, like whenever students appear for their MBA interviews, and especially when they are taking HR, and this is a a question that goes around in our circles: why HR? Right. And I also happen to study HR, so this is a question that has also been asked of me many times. So if I were to ask you at that time, in the late 80s, early 90s, why HR for you? Like, what did you know about HR? What attracted you to it? What was the decision making rubric?
Shubhit, it was default. I'll be very
Okay.
honest.
Hmm.
Because my brother told me, I tried exercises, got into it, and I came out of it, and the life started taking a different form and shape. A lot of people
Hmm.
nowadays, when I go to campuses or I address young students, they give me a very cliched answer. I like interacting with people. That's something which I don't think was my answer in those days because I got into HR because that was the only opportunity available to me at that point in time. So I walked into it. No regrets. Uh,
Hmm.
Even in my campus job, in those days, my first job was at Tata Motors in Jamshedpur. That was a campus placement. I told the same answer. They asked me, why did you choose HR as a function or specialization? I'm being blatantly honest. I did not know what HR was all about. I could not have said that I like interacting with people because that's one answer which is very fake, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think even today, college students get into HR program with some very stereotyped answers, which they get trained in various institutes of GDPIs.
Yeah.
Why HR? Because I like interacting with. A marketing person also needs to be interacting with people to be successful. Sales professionals, interaction with people and working with people is a requirement of any and every function. So I just cannot say that I like interacting with people, so I'm in HR. No, I came into HR should be totally by default without knowing what HR was all about.
Yeah, and thank you for that candid answer. But sure, you can say it now. But for youngsters who are sort of their job depends on that answer, they are probably tempted to say that I love people, I love working with people, I'm very empathetic. I guess, yeah,
That leads to further questions actually. And if you give that answer to me, I
yeah,
probe further that how honest is that person while making that statement? Because you can
hmm,
probe deep and deep. And you don't talk about empathy, you can talk about people. There are very, very structured answers institutes prepare you to respond to. Why
yeah,
HR? Therefore, why sales and marketing? XYZ. But if
hmm,
you actually go deep into below the skin, you'll find that this person is actually not giving the right answer or the truth.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
And I
avoid
think,
staying away from such questions also.
yeah, and I think being honest and truthful sometimes can be detrimental in interviews, but I think being authentic definitely scores brownie points.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
it's easier. It's easier to do the interview after that if you've answered truthfully. Sir, we'll get into your journey. I mean, you joined one of the greatest organizations in India, Tata Motors, and Tata Group is sort of the benchmark in terms of the people practices, the employee employer relationships that they endorse. Tell us a little bit about your early days at Tata Motors, because that was your first formal job, and then probably from there a little bit about your journey across different organizations.
Shobit, today even today I say that once a Tata man is always a Tata man.
Yeah.
Even so many years after having left the Tatas, I was there for a brief period of a few years.
Mhm.
I think that was one organization exposed me to what how to treat people with empathy, care, and respect. That's very, very important. Tatas were never, they may now be, never the best
Mhm.
paymasters in the industry. They were conservative in their compensation, but they cared for their people. They respected their people. And the way I saw people in Jamshedpur in the telco colony were being treated, the workmen as well as for the management staff, is beyond imagination. There were schools, there were other facilities. They thought about a holistic life of an individual, not as an employee staff code number. They talked of an employee as a human being. So I
Mhm.
think that's where Mr. Jamshedji Tata, everyone did believe in the philosophy of treating human beings as human beings and not as just a worker or an employee. So I think that
Yeah.
was the first exposure to values and human values and ethos I got exposed to. And that has remained in me. That has been one of the guiding lights of the way I have tried to navigate my HR career and my HR interventions across organizations.
Yeah.
Treat people with dignity, treat people with respect. I think that was one thing which the Tata exposure taught me, and that has stayed on with me even till today. From there, my journey has moved on across to various companies. I worked with Dunlop, I worked with ICI in Rishra, I worked with Philips in Calcutta, I
Wow.
worked for BOC, which is now Linde in Calcutta. I worked for various organizations. Then I moved into Organon, I moved into Eveready, McNally Bharat, and last 10 years I've been with Gainwell. But that basic grounding into
Hmm.
the belief that people are the important assets and treat them with dignity, with fairness, respect, and treat them as human beings is something what Tatas have taught me my initial days and left a very indelible mark on my mind. And I've tried to live up to it throughout.
Beautiful. Sir, and also a little curious here before we dive into your role at Gainwell, your roles at Gainwell. Um, you worked across different organizations and you've grown in hierarchy, you've grown in seniority, but you've you've been predominantly based in Kolkata. Had there been any temptation or thought that okay, Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, these are places where jobs are really hot. Maybe I should go out there and explore. Did those thoughts come in, or what was your decision making like?
No, no, I did get jobs in Gurgaon, in Mumbai, not in Bangalore, but in Gurgaon and Mumbai. I did get in quite with big brands, and I don't know, Shubid. I don't have a very rational answer. I'm
Hmm.
emotionally connected to the city. I love
Sure.
my city in spite of all its problems. I love it. I love the Durga Pujo. I love Kali Pujo. I love the Christmas time. I'm somehow emotionally connected with the city. And yes, today when hindsight, I see my fellow colleagues from the management institutes, batchmates, they're earning more than me in on many cases. They're also living a life which I'm living a better quality of life. Uh, Calcutta, yes, has its own challenges, but then I have no regrets being in Calcutta because this city has given me whatever I'm today. And a lot of people have told me that, why didn't you go outside Calcutta? Not that I didn't get opportunities, not that I didn't get frustrated once in a while, and did try my and got appointment letters from other companies. My wife also complains that going into Kolkata, where ek chakri kol lena. And my son had to study Hindi in school with an optimistic thing. And once I'll go to Calcutta and his second language, he'll not have a problem. Because Bangla he'll
Hmm.
anyway learn at home. So he studied class till class 12, class 10 Hindi without ever moving out of Kolkata. So I not that I didn't have ambitions or didn't make an attempt. I did
Hmm.
make attempts. I did get opportunities. A lot of my seniors have told me, "अरे यार कलकत्ता से बाहर तो आओ,
Hmm.
दुनिया कहाँ कहाँ जा रहा है देखो." I said, ठीक है
Hmm.
यार, मैं तो यहाँ पे खुश हूँ. Maybe my need for happiness is a bit limited. But then Calcutta has given me whatever I wished and aspired for. I have no regrets having stayed back in Kolkata, Shubid. And I always tell that uh, maybe I wouldn't have have I moved out of Kolkata, what I've got today. And I tell my fellow professionals that, boss, you guys have gone out and left the Maidan Khali for me. So I have low competition. If you guys would have been around, maybe I'll have to scout for another job. So God has been great. City has been good. And I've had some phenomenal opportunities in the city of Kolkata in spite of all its limitations. That's why I
Hmm.
say God is great. Uh, and I had some brilliant bosses who held my
Hmm.
hand. And whatever I'm today, wherever I've reached, I owe largely to destiny and to my leaders who have helped me to evolve where I'm today.
Sir, I think we'll explore this destiny versus choice. I mean later on. But I think you mentioned that some of them are more happy or they chose happiness. But I think it's how we define happiness for ourselves, and not everybody's definition will suit everybody. So I think depends on how you define your own happiness that makes you content is what really matters. But we'll probably unravel that once we get into the Kolkata part of things, because I did go out for a few years, about 10 years outside, and then somehow that calling brought me back. But we'll probably get into it later. Sir, at Gainwell, uh, you are holding or wearing multiple hats, right? Obviously HR being your passion, your core specialization, whatever you call it. But you're the chief people officer of the group. You are also head of marketing, PR, corpcom. Now, we seldom see the chief people officer or CHRO holding marketing, PR, corpcom. Uh, Tell us a little bit about how did that come about, and are there any challenges or benefits being the CPO as well as a marketing, PR, corpcom head?
Uh, After about 30 years of working life, I found myself getting a bit bored with HR.
Okay.
And I've always believed in developing my next line team. So fortunately, in Gainwell, the team which is working with me, uh, they they are very competent. The team is
Mhm.
very competent, and they were doing the things which in an autopilot mode, and a lot of things were happening in the company where I felt that these guys are doing a phenomenal job and I should let them grow and evolve and make myself a bit more redundant in the HR function. My job should be more on the strategic and on the not on the operational or a micromanagement level. So my team is brilliant, and whatever I am today, I owe it to all of them because if they hadn't contributed, I wouldn't have been where I am. So then, when I was feeling bored, I went and told my chairman that give me something additional to work. And I
Mhm.
always had this interest for what marketing is all about without again having that interest of being open to talking to people and relating
Yeah.
to people. But marketing was, and I worked with FMCG, I worked with consumer electronics, branding, marketing communication. What is a brand? What is a brand pull, a brand push, consumer behavior? These things as a topic has always excited me. And when I've got an opportunity, I've heard people who've been speaking about this, and as a customer of various services and products, this is a, and therefore I went and told them that they're having a restructuring in the organization. I went and approached it. Would you like to take a risk of giving me marketing?
Hmm.
Because corporate communications I was handling always before that as a head of HR, and I also had CSR. So these were part of it. So I volunteered and said that, would you like to take a risk? Because again, the marketing team was good and it is still good. There's an offline marketing, digital marketing. So they said, okay, fine. If you want an additional pie on your table, we'll give it to you. So since then, Shubhit, for the last 5 years, 6 years, I've been leading marketing. And again, uh, I believe in one way of operating that's leadership is develop your people, allow them to evolve, allow them to function, and don't be breathing on their neck. If they need your help, they'll come up to you. You keep a track of what they're doing. You know what's happening in your team. And at the end of the day, manage through them. It's people management. It's because they know their job. If I try to suddenly become Philip Kotler on them and talk about 7 P's of marketing, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Or tell them what is an offline marketing with digital marketing and how it works and how does data work, how does data flows, customer relationship management, lead management system. They know their job better than me.
Hmm.
So I need to just get the team to work around the basic goals and objectives, get them together, iron out the differences, and it fell into place. So I didn't have to do anything extra. Again, my people management skills and my belief in people helped me to handle marketing, and I'm trying to handle it even today.
And sir, and going and asking for additional role, a lot of us hesitate to do that, especially if it's not your own specialization. uh, did you have to work extra hard and at your level, being a CHR or a chief people officer, to understand and learn about marketing concepts, marketing strategies? Was it like a new learner in you at that time? How did you approach the new role, new responsibilities?
Yes, I did spend a bit of time in learning from my immediate team members, the leaders who are leading the various verticals in marketing. I spent a considerable amount of time learning about, first of all, how does marketing operate uh, in an industry like ours. It is not an FMCG, it is not a
Hmm.
services industry, it is a capital goods industry. So customer segments are different. How do we reach the market, go to market? All these things differ. And how does sales operate? I had a fair understanding because I've always been an HR person who tried to understand the business. So
Yes.
therefore, I got a flavor that marketing operates this way, sales operates this way, and how do I bridge it, and what are the various processes to connect these. And then I spoke to my zonal marketing heads, and tried to understand what is the on-ground activation that they do. How do they have customer meets? How do they do financer meets? How does the customer relationship management platform work? How does the lead management system work? What are the
Hmm.
processes? And therefore, I was interested to learn from them because that's one thing I've been doing, Shobit, is trying to learn constantly. Uh, in these last 35 years, I've been in the profession. I love learning. And I love teaching also. So if I constantly try to learn, unlearn, and try to work with my team in terms of passing on something which I know, which they may not know, or complement their knowledge. So,
Yeah.
and I believe in reverse mentoring. I need to learn from the next generation. I need to learn from my son. I learn from him every day, more or less. He's my biggest teacher.
Yeah, and being familiar with him, I can attest to that. Sir, and what you said about learning and teaching what you're learning, I think this reminds me of the Feynman technique, that go and explain a concept to a child, and if you can explain it well, that is when you know you've understood that concept well. If you can't explain it to, let's say, a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old, then you haven't understood it. Uh, uh, Sir, like 10 plus years as chief people officer at Gainwell, 5 plus years as head of marketing, PR, corpcom. Some challenges or some highlights or joys that you could, recall in this, past 10 years.
Challenges have been there. They're supposed to be there.
Yes.
Otherwise, we don't keep our jobs.
Yeah.
Uh, Challenges have been there are actually in today's industry or organizations, it's multi-generation.
Hmm.
We handle multi-generations because you have people who were born in the 60s, 70s, people who are born in the 2000s. So you've got generational employees working in the organization. So managing the generational aspirations and ambitions is our biggest challenge, which I have faced, and it's very interesting challenge because for a person who's of my age, will typically look at stability in a job, retirement,
Mm.
robust processes, whereas a generation which is born in the 90s will have a different requirement. Generation born in 2000s will have a different requirement. So
Yeah.
constantly in the last 10 years, what I've tried to keep pace with in my organization is handling multi-generational employees. So that has been a huge challenge for us. And I think it's not only for me, for my business colleagues also who lead various teams, because they have in their teams people of various age groups with different qualifications, different aspirations. So that's
Mhm.
been a challenge, which interesting challenge, a challenge which keeps us awake as HR professionals, and we are navigating through it
Yeah.
constantly. And also another challenge is what makes people who are born in the 2000 or late 90s to have that stickiness within the organization. We're trying to figure it out. What are the elements or dimensions of an organization which makes them stay engaged with an organization? Because their level of what should I say, irritation, restlessness becomes very fast. So I love listening to them and figuring out what is that need to make my organization more sticky so that they stay back with my organization at least for 5 to 7 years, because nowadays people clock five
Yeah.
years as a long service award.
Yeah.
Companies have. So I have
Yeah.
also done it against my wishes. We have a recognition of 5 years of service, which I thought the first time you become eligible for gratuities after 5 years. Government is anyway giving you that, or the Payment of
Yeah.
Gratuity Act is giving you that. But then youngsters are looking at 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, which we never thought of. But then that's been one thing which has been constantly a big challenge over the last 10 years to make the organization a preferred employer,
Hmm.
a, a place which is we have become a great place to work over the last 7 years of journey. We are now 49th among top 100 companies in this country. So a lot of work. We were 84th last year, 49th this year. So a lot of work has happened with where the HR has worked with the business to collaborate and co-create this environment within the organization. So these challenges of sustaining that level of engagement of the
Hmm.
employees, engagement is just not coming to the office, it's emotionally connected with the larger goal of
Yeah.
the organization, where the individual and the larger goal somewhere has a overlap. So creating
Yeah.
that sort of an environment should be has been the biggest challenge.
And sir, I know another very challenging time came about 5 years ago with the whole COVID pandemic hitting the workforce, and you being in an industry which probably could not. move into remote working because of the nature of the industry, the nature of work. Tell us a little bit about, because I heard quite a few of your podcasts talking about navigating that challenge. Though now pandemic is like a distant memory in a way, but tell us a little bit about navigating those challenges, from your vantage point.
Shubit, it's no more AD and BC, it's pre-pandemic, post-pandemic. The world
Yeah.
has changed.
Yes.
That's what people say. We used to talk
Yeah.
about AD and BC, it is no more AD and BC, it is. So, pandemic was very difficult days for us because for any organization, for the world at large, for human life,
Hmm.
in our organization, as you rightly said, we have certain operations which has to go, which is our mining operations, underground coal mining operations. The coal is an essential commodity. And that's where the challenge, because the rest of the organization shut itself in office, in at homes, travel back to their hometowns or wherever they were staying. They could ring fence themselves from the rest of the world, like all of us did. But mining operations was something where they had to continue churning out
Hmm.
the coal for India's energy requirements. So our biggest challenge was to keep them safe, to keep them going, and they at times uh, come far away from their native places or their families to work alone in a mine.
Yeah.
So there is the stress of how their families are staying in their native places if they were getting infected with COVID, or how were they keeping. So these people went through the maximum amount of stress. We had a few instances of people getting very serious. We lost a couple of our colleagues, unfortunately, to COVID. But then we got a few people who felt very ill. But we had a very compassionate organization. We are a very compassionate, caring organization. We had every morning we had a leadership meeting which only talked about health of the people, no business, no production, no nothing. Because we know the world has come to a standstill. We said
Yeah.
that we only talk about in which site, where, how many people are unwell. We ensured that we have, because our leadership team has, being ex from the government, they have the certain contacts in certain places. So we ensure that we have ambulance services, oxygen cylinders, pulse oximeters. We ensured gloves. We got them in bulk, and we ensured that every location at least had some. If people needed, we could supply them to their house. I think most companies in India did the same thing. We didn't, but what we did, which we are all very proud of and happy, is that we just kept people and their families in mind.
Hmm.
So, be it an air ambulance, be it ambulance rushing from where the hospital was chock a block, running from one hospital to the other, where we used all our contacts, government contacts to the health ministry and all that, to get people admitted so that no one suffers. And our intent was not only our employees, the larger Gainwell family. We looked after the families also. So, therefore, it was very important for us that we lose none of our family members. We unfortunately lost two. So, our commitment was not only to ensure that our employees remain safe, but their families, their immediate families, the extended families also remain safe and healthy. That was
Yeah.
the most important. In the mining sites, we made additional efforts to work with our partners, Coal India, Hindustan Zinc, Tata Steel, to ensure that we worked along with them to ensure that our employees are safe, because there's a stress which is operating in their mind about their families. The families are getting worried about them. So that we constantly had every morning, we met for what, morning or afternoon for 1 hour just to take a stock of how is the health quotient of our organization. We didn't talk
Hmm.
about money, we didn't talk about business, we didn't talk about customers. We just talked about our people's safety and people's health.
Yeah.
So that's a huge satisfaction for all of us, that we actually cared for each other, and that brought us together.
And I mean, COVID times were, I think, testing times for all. But I think as chief people officer, I think the stress of managing this crisis was manifold, because
And one thing
something
I
like
want to
this.
add is, one thing, a lot of people, a lot of companies delayed salaries, didn't pay the salaries. We paid
Mhm.
salaries on time. We had our annual increments. Maybe a bit more conservative figures, but then we did give them. And not a single person lost his or her job.
Wow.
That was a commitment to our employees that your salary will not get affected. It will not be reduced or recalibrated downwards. We protected the salaries, we paid the salaries on time. Not a single person lost job because of COVID. That was an
Yeah.
assurance we gave to our employees. You stay at home till the world reopens and recalibrates itself.
And that's a pretty strong statement in action, not just in words, for any organization to make. And sir, I know I had this section come up later, but I'm just sort of just going to pull this section up a little earlier. You talked about physical well-being of your employees, extended family. uh, I also want to get into the mental well-being, because mental well-being, mental health has become extremely important for organizations, especially after the pandemic as well, and overall the changing trend in which mental health issues are being more openly discussed in families, in workplaces. Um, Tell us a little bit about how an organization such as yours can facilitate through its culture more support, more conversations around mental well-being, mental health issues.
We have, over the years, believed in a holistic well being of our employees. So, when we talk about employee well being, it is just
Mhm,
not physical well being. Mental
mhm,
well being plays a very important role in our HR process initiatives. We commit to our employees a very psychologically safe workplace. That's
mhm,
very, very important for us. Uh, Performance pressures will be there, demands will be there, but not at the cost of psychological insecurity or unsafe psychological conditions. That's a zero tolerance area for us. We do not allow workplace bullying.
mhm,
Uh, we do not allow sexual harassment. That's every company does it. They don't encourage, or we don't allow workplace bullying or discrimination based on certain parameters. And we also have a clinical psychologist on our roll, not on our rolls, who's engaged with us,
mhm,
who's a call away for any of our employees. And it's an anonymous engagement they can get into and get support. And the company pays for it. We don't even ask who's dialed in, what's the issue, unless the doctor finds a red flag issue. If there are issues of suicide tendencies or those sort of things, then they red flag it to us to make interventions. We also now have an app based on which they can get in touch with dietitian, they can get in touch with a psychologist, they can get in touch with financial planner. So everything. So holistic well-being for us should be played a very, very important role in our focused people initiatives, because we feel that, as you rightly said, a lot of challenges are now happening even for young parents to bring up their kids. So we
mhm.
do at times periodic counselors who come and talk to the parents, because parents need counseling how to bring up their kids. It's not always the problem which lies with youngsters. I feel that parents need to be spoken to in terms of how you bring up the youngster. And in an environment where the couples are working together, the
Yep.
child goes through a different process of growing up. And therefore, it's very important for parents to navigate that challenge and give a meaningful life or a much of value adding life or an engagement with their children. So I strongly believe in it, and I've tried to also work with parents, get counselors or people who can support parents and sort out their issues, because parents leave their children at home or in daycare call institutions or with the in-laws or with somebody else, but then they go back home. Both of them go back home 8:39. How much time do they get to spend with the child? And then they suddenly see different disturbing signals in the
Symptoms.
child's behavior.
Symptoms. Yeah.
Yeah. So, how do I ensure that the people who are coming into my workspace, I also give them that support where they can fall upon somebody and talk it out how to give their children a better life. So that's the way we've tried to curate or design our people initiatives so that people are given that ecosystem where they can fall back for support.
And sir, just to take you out a little bit from the CHRO's shoes, uh, you've been in the workforce for the last 30 odd years. Uh, and this is a question that I often ask people or get asked is, why weren't there as many conversations in the 90s, early 2000s around mental health, mental well being? Uh, what has shifted? Is it an influence of the West? Is it a mark of a more affluent, developed society? Or are there more mental health issues that are plaguing the population today? What would your take be?
Yes, mental health issues have surfaced and now they're getting spoken about.
Mm-hmm,
Maybe in the 90s or 2000 or even before that, people never used to be open about talking those issues.
mm-hmm,
People used to say, oh, ও পাগলামো করছে, মাথা ঠিক নেই.
hmm.
So it was a taboo.
Yeah.
With passage of time, with more information coming, and now people being more informed that it's not paglamo. There's something
Hmm.
wrong somewhere which is affecting that human being. So I think there's appreciation, recognition of of this modern world that this is like any other physiological problem one may go through. It's
Hmm.
psychological in nature, but it's a physiology. It's like any other physiology. We go to a doctor for a eye checkup or a ear checkup or a throat checkup, an ENT specialist or surgeon. The mind also needs support. I think as a society, we are a taboo that don't go to a psychologist. Amani pagul. Oh, okay, pagla karo to deya uchit. And people used to get outcasted from their families or from the society.
Yeah.
It used to be there. These challenges used to be there. We shied away from recognizing and accepting those challenges.
Hmm.
Yes, you might say there's been more information about it, more studies have gone into it, that what causes mental health issues, what can be done to cure them. So, more information is available, and therefore, people are more informed nowadays about that mental health is a reality. Mental health is a
Yeah.
reality. It is like any other physical health issue. So, therefore, let's accept it and move on and take corrective measures to address them rather than
Yeah.
running away from them. Because, and yes, the complexities of today's world is aggravating those issues. As I said, lonely children at home,
Yeah.
spending a lot of time on the digital platform.
Yeah.
We have uncontrolled time spent by children on the iPad or the mobile phones, and technology, while it's been a boon, but it's been a bane also.
Hmm.
So a lot of corruption is taking place on the human mind from childhood to any age. So they're getting exposed to various informations, various things which ideally can be avoided. But then that's the way, it's at the click of a button or a swipe of a screen. So I think, therefore, with technology coming in a bigger way, information being available, I
Hmm.
think more, uh, what should I say, cues are there for the human mind to get affected from. And therefore, a lot of confusion is there. You'll find a lot of these youngsters, if you go to colleges, if you talk to youngsters growing up, I find in a lot of them, there's a lack of clarity in what they're thinking and what they want to do. There's a
Hmm.
state of confusion in their mind. What is right? What is wrong? Because and there is a standard non-acceptance of the status quo. They want to be
Hmm.
rebels, and they think that being a rebel is the call of the day. No,
Hmm.
and there's a huge communication gap which is happening between parents and children. I think parents equal to be blamed, not only children. I say that we also, as parents, don't take the step forward to understand what the next generation is thinking. Because if I say that I'm going to think like as if I'm in the 70s or 80s, and my son who's born in the 90s is going to think like me, I'm living in a fool's paradise. So
Yeah.
I also, as a person who's growing, needs to also open my mind. So I think these mental health issues is a combination of us. Let's not put the buck on all the young generation and say that, okay, they are all misguided, they are doing this, they are picking up the gun, they're picking up the pill, or they are doing this. It's a two-way street, Shubit, because I think the society at large also needs to embrace change, manage
Hmm.
the change, and work around the change to make it more productive. Yes,
Yeah.
there will be issues. We cannot run away from it.
Yeah. And I think from the CHRO's shoes, you landed right into a parent's shoes while you were talking about it. Sir, you mentioned technology. and sort of I'll segue into the technology aspect. Obviously, the technology aspect taking toll on our psyche is one, but the technology taking its toll on the workforce or the nature of work, and obviously this has been an ongoing conversation in the whole future of work debate. There is the question of automation, reshaping the workforce, changing roles, changing skill sets, need for skilling, upskilling, reskilling, right? And then in the last few years, suddenly AI, Gen AI has brought in a whole different kind of a, I would say, tsunami of conversation, and to some extent fears that what automation was supposed to do over the, let's say, next 10, 20 years, AI is almost about to do it in the next 2, 3 years. So this future shock, to quote Alvin Toffler, is here after maybe 70 years of that book being written. How are you looking at technology, automation, impact of AI on the workforce from the lens of a CHRO, from the lens of the custodian of the workforce?
Let's not run away from the fact that AI or technology will have its impact on the in a manufacturing industry like ours.
Yeah,
Uh, we had the robots coming in. A lot of these auto companies use robots in the assembly line to improve efficiency, quality, and all this.
yeah,
Now they've gone to a next level of generative AI, and that will have its impact on process efficiency or on the turnaround time.
sure.
They cannot replace human beings. That's one myth which is traveling around the world to create a fear psychosis that AI will replace human beings. No, AI cannot replace the human mind as of today. And even if they do, there is a lot of talk about studying the human mind and doing something with the human mind is doing. That's not in the near future. That also needs to be controlled because every technology can be misused or used productively,
Right.
right? So I don't think AI will replace human beings or new technology. It will be a complement to human efforts. Human beings need to, as you rightly said, upskill and reskill. We need to constantly evolve and change. The rate of change will be faster. The rate of skilling and reskilling, unlearning will be faster. It's no more a 5 year or 10 year time frame. It's a nearly a 1 year, 2 year sort of a thing where you need to constantly be on your toes, be agile, learn new technology, learn new ways of working. And I
Mm,
think AI will also throw up a lot of other alternative ways of working
mm,
because yes, there's a huge challenge in the entertainment industry. You can have Brad Pitt's voice done by an AI or a George
mm,
Clooney's voice done by an AI or Amitabh Bachchan's voice being
yeah,
done by AI. So people are talking about coming to concerts, listening to the songs, not have an AI generated Sonu Nigam song. So yes, there are threats. There are threats. I will not deny that. In the manufacturing industry, I think a lot of technology enabled work processes, work streams will evolve. The repetitive processes will gradually wane away from the portfolio of human beings. So you can use AI to your advantage strategically for your organizations. It is responsibility of human beings how to use and how not to use artificial intelligence and technology. But yes, it will impact. I totally agree with you. People will need to constantly unlearn and learn.
yeah.
The rate of speed of change will be much faster than what it was. The learning curve will be much more shorter. The demands of the industry will be much faster for you to unlearn and learn and start delivering the new things. AI will complement human efforts and human brain. AI will not replace human effort, human brain.
Sir, I mean, yes, uh, an individual needs to take the responsibility to judiciously, strategically use this as a tool for good, for their self development. uh, from your lens, as the group chief people officer who's also responsible for the learning interventions, the training interventions, employee development programs, how do you see all this now be incorporated in terms of how you plan, let's say, learning interventions or training programs within your organization?
The training programs are yes, we'll take the help of AI.
Mm-hmm.
for developing training modules or training nuggets. But I'm very aversive to using ChatGPT for developing training modules. A lot of
Sure.
people do it. A click of a
Yes.
button, you can say, I want to develop this training program. You get 15 options coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not saying that will go away, but
Mm-hmm.
the way, because then the creativity gets lost. So that's why I said that, yes, that's what I'm saying. Use ChatGPT, use ChatGPT Pro, use it as a addition to your own creativity.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying throw a ChatGPT, everything is bad. No, I do take help of ChatGPT once in a while, but not at the cost of my own contribution, my own cerebral inputs. So even in training, you may have AI-driven modules where it's very repetitive in nature, where creativity is not required. We use chatbots to figure out the pulse survey of our employees.
Yep.
So they answer anonymous what should I say, surveys on a chatbot which has a particular identity and they answer. So the chatbot generally engages into a conversation with the employees, asks the questions, gets the responses gets processed, and I get a report on a cohort of people in the organization about what they are feeling, what is the mood of the organization,
Sentiment
in the
analysis,
organization,
right?
and take corrective actions on them.
Hmm.
So this is how, but AI will certainly not be a new trainer for me in the system. We might use AI to complement the training initiatives
Yes.
or build a module where AI plays some sort of a role in delivering something which is a repetitive, where human intelligence or human effort can be replaced.
Sure. Sir, I know you have a busy schedule and you've given us a certain amount of time, so we don't want to overshoot that. So I will move into our last segment, which I know can be perceived differently by different people depending on how they view it, but would love to hear your views on this. You've been, an HR leader, a business leader, predominantly in the city, from Kolkata. How do you view the overall leadership culture slash innovation in Kolkata Bengal industries, right? You've been part of the fraternity, you've been part of the HR leaders ecosystem, and a very well renowned voice within it and beyond, obviously. But Kolkata as an ecosystem, how do you perceive how we are doing on leadership, culture, innovation?
Kolkata hasn't utilized its potential.
Mm-hmm.
Kolkata throws up leaders, throws up people who are innovative. They go outside the city of Kolkata, go to another state, go to another country, and they flourish and they do phenomenal work. I
Hmm.
think as a city, we are deprived of their capabilities and talent. And that's the pity of this city. We have not been able to retain our talent, be it leadership, be it innovative talent, and we have allowed them to help other states or other nations to flourish. So that's one thing which pains me because I think the intellectual capital of this country lies in this city. The intellectual capital is housed in the city. Even today, we've had a flight of intellectual capital. The universities, the colleges in this city are still one of the best in globally. Only if our attitude towards opening our minds and be less political in our approach would have been there.
Mm-hmm.
Kolkata has buried its own, dug its own grave and buried itself inside it. And that's the
Unfortunately.
pity of this city.
Yeah.
This city, in terms of quality of life, quality of human beings, is the best in this country, no doubt. Quality of human beings is the best. We have empathy, we have culture, we have values, we treat human beings as human beings. And this is the strength of this city, which it pains me. I get emotional. I get very, very emotional when I see Calcutta getting criticized. When Kolkata gets criticized, Kolkata gets ridiculed in a
Mm-hmm.
national forum, national television, national media. It
Yeah.
pains. And at times I blame Kolkatans for doing it. We go outside the city, we criticize our own city.
Yeah.
We should be proud of where we belong to. And what has made us today is from the city. We wouldn't have been where we are if the city hadn't given us what we've got.
Yeah.
It's easy to criticize, Shubhit. It's very easy to criticize. But what have you done for your city? That's one thing I want to ask. Yes, there are systemic issues, the political issues. I'm not getting into it. Every state, every nation, every country has it. It pains
Yeah.
me. This city is, I think, is the best, at least in this country, in terms of quality of human beings.
And sir, I think you answered in this itself. Your views on the local talent ecosystem, which I was about to come to, because you wholeheartedly put your faith in the talent that exists in the city and is also in the process of going out over the last many decades. Uh, Being a chief people officer with employees, the workforce predominantly in the city, in the state, and obviously other parts of the country as well, how do you view the workforce, the talent ecosystem from the lens of a chief people officer?
It's brilliant, Shubhit, because when I go to these colleges to recruit, now the pain is even the students are flying away.
Yeah.
Even the students are going to institutions which are outside. I'm not saying you shouldn't go to an IIT or NIT. They are the best in this country. It has always happened. People going to Kharagpur or Bombay or Delhi, Chennai IITs or NITs or RECs. Please go there. There's no problem. But then the way we have compromised on the quality of education and the education system in our state, unfortunately, we are seeing bright minds also not joining university like Jadavpur or Presidency or even premier colleges in the state. So what is
Mhm.
happening? The brain drain or the flight of talent is happening right after class 12.
Yeah.
And once they are facing experiencing the multicultural exposure in a institution in Maharashtra or Karnataka or in northern part of the country, they feel that we've come to a different world, these youngsters, and they don't want to come back to the city. It's
Yeah.
unfortunate. So there is a
Yeah.
reverse migration of talent which is happening. So if you ask me from a lens of a CPO, in terms of talent, the talent availability should be this decreasing, it's depleting. Because the good talent is flying away from our state. Because we are unable to give them the ecosystem of education and career opportunities. There are no industries, there are no opportunities where they can take their first job. I did it in a very conscious manner a couple of years back for one of our group companies. I did a reverse migration of talent. I told them, your hometown is Kolkata, I give you an offer of coming to Kolkata. And I got brilliant talents, engineering design talents, and they are now leading various verticals in one of my group companies called Gainwell Engineering. I tapped the markets in Maharashtra, Gujarat, where a lot of good engineering talent is there, who's moved about 7, 8, 10 years back. Given a good organization, given a good compensation, they would love to come back to the city. And we Bengalis are very emotive about our own city and our own state, but
Yeah.
we are not being able to give them that opportunity. I tried it. I was lucky, and I'm happy that we could do a reverse migration. I believe in reverse migration of talent, of Bengali talent coming into the city. That's my first priority when I talk to my talent acquisition team. But when I go to campuses, fresh talent, there's a dearth because they don't want to work here.
Yeah. Sir, in the interest of time, I'll come to my last question on this area. Is, and I know this can get slightly political, controversial, and I would not want that to impact our conversation. Uh, how can Kolkata or Bengal rise again to compete with other states, other metros in terms of not just the volume of work, but the quality of work that is offered here in terms of overall efficiency and productivity, overall work culture, which often gets a bad rap. And finally, the most critical element of all is compensation levels, which we hear day in and day out. What is the panacea? Is there one, or what could be some remedial steps?
No, I'm hopeful. I'm an eternal hopeful that Kolkata will rebound once again to its glory, or Bengal
Hmm.
for that matter. Why Kolkata?
Sure.
Couple of things. Uh, Politics was part of education all throughout. when I was in Jadavpur,
Sure.
or because student politics is a part of life. It's across the country. But I think we are
And
taking it too
80s were a
far in
very
our state.
tumultuous phase as well.
Yes. But I think in our state, we are taking it too far.
Hmm.
Student politics is taking a precedence over education and academics. And therefore, children of today's generation are not interested in staying in an environment where classes don't happen, where politicization of education institutions are happening. I think it's a responsibility of the political community of our state just to a bit more be wary of this factor of politicization, because I know it helps in creating the future generation of memberships in the respective political parties. Yes, let it be a choice and let it not be a compulsion. So I would urge that I would only hope that while student politics is good, it's healthy. I'm not saying it's bad. Differing political opinions are also healthy. You don't need a uniform one party, one politics. No, but yes, there'll be constructive conversation around polity. There's constructive conversation of difference of opinion, but don't over politicize our education system. And that has earned us a bad name. And we had premier in colleges in this country, of this country in our city, and people are not taking admission there. So, and in terms of innovation, in terms of ease of business, I think innovation is something which I think this city offers, because people are very creative, people are innovative. These are the same people who goes to a Bangalore or a Gurgaon or Mumbai and does the same job,
Yeah.
and they do innovation. They do it in San Francisco or New York City or London, Brussels, wherever they work. So innovation or creative thinking or out of the box thinking is nothing new for people of Bengal. We've done it, we can do it. I still believe it. My only thing is that let's make life for industries a bit more easy to do business in
Hmm.
this. Again, politicization of our state, of our trade union system has ruined our state.
Yeah.
We've had flight of industries going away. You may blame the industrialists, but industrialists put in money for
Yeah.
business. They
Yeah.
will not be doing business in a state which is not industry friendly, where they can't make money.
Yeah.
You may blame the industries of going out of the state and putting up a shop somewhere else. Over the years, Bengal has suffered because of this. Can we put a stop to it now and invite industries with a more friendlier work environment? I know we have problems of land because we have fragmented land. We don't
Yeah.
have large contiguous land to offer to large parcels of land to offer to large industries to set up huge infrastructural setups. Whatever is available, we have become an agri-based economy now, or
Hmm.
small industries. We are totally SSI-driven economy in this state now. SMEs and SSI, even SSC, SMEs are struggling. So politics important. Politicization of environment is nowhere in the world it happens outside this. But to what extent
Yeah.
is my worry. And I think that we are conscious, we are educated,
Yeah.
and I still believe Bengal can rule this country.
Well, amen to that. Sir, we are just over the hour mark, and I will let you go. I have just two more questions for you. One, obviously, you are a veteran in this field of HR leadership. There are lots of young professionals, lots of young professionals in the field of HR who would be listening to this, hopefully. One actionable insight that they can incorporate in their career that you could share from your learnings across your 35-year-old journey.
I thought a couple of things. Not It's not rocket science. Uh, be open to learning constantly. Have that constant learning orientation. Unlearn, relearn, go on. It's a continuous cycle. Be agile and open. I ask people to read a lot. Nowadays, everything is available on a palm top. I'm those traditional person who still buys a book, loves the
Sure.
smell of a new page of a book. But
Mhm.
whatever way you want to learn. So be agile, be open to learning, read, and uh, understand the business way in the organization where you're working. Not only the
Mhm.
business of that organization, but how that business impacts the society and the community and the country at large. Therefore, you can take macro perspectives or strategic initiatives which impacts people and the society. So understand the business, understand its impact. A lot of people say that you need to understand finance. Yes, you need to understand the impact of your business, consequences of your business. You need to understand what's a profitable or non-profitable business. You need to understand money. But what I tell HR professionals is be agile, be open to learning, be sensitive to people,
Yeah.
be sensitive to people, uh, embrace everybody with the same openness. And I think moment you embrace people with the same openness and you're sensitive to them, you listen to them, half the battle is won. So don't be too inward looking, open yourself up, be transparent, be honest, be objective, be fair to your people.
Wonderful, sir. And sir, last question before it's not a question, it's a request. You've spoken very passionately about the profession, the career, leadership, but you've spoken most passionately about the city and the state. Before we close, sir, any parting words for the city, for the listeners and viewers of Kolkata Calling? That would be very very nice for us to share.
Let's take Kolkata to where it belongs. It should be at the top. Kolkata doesn't deserve to be where it is languishing now. Kolkata is not only the cultural capital of this country, Kolkata can be then is the capital of this country, where all
Yeah.
the action begins, where we can show the way to the rest of the world that this is how the world should move. So Kolkata has the potential. Kolkata can do it. It's us Kolkatans who have to make it happen with a belief and a commitment that we can make a difference to our lives through our city.
Wonderful, sir. Thank you so much, sir. This has been a fantastic listening for me. Learned a lot and really, really honored and privileged to be able to host you on this podcast, sir. Thank you so much. This is going to be live on the day of Mahalaya. I don't know if it's right to say Shubho Mahalaya, of course. But yeah,
দেবী পক্ষ শুরু হবে সুতরাং মাকে প্রণাম জানিয়ে I think the world will change or Kolkata will change.
একদমই। সো
That's our
দ্যাট ইজ
prayer.
হ্যাঁ, মনের কামনা সেটাই। সো ইন অ্যাডভান্স সবাইকে শুভ মহালয়া, অ্যাডভান্স উইশেস ফর দুর্গাপুজো। With that, we'll close the podcast. Sujoy sir, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thank you, Shobit. Thank you for inviting me. Pleasure talking to you. Wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir. Same here.
Thank you.